In this week's episode, we're going to be sewing. So in an episode a couple weeks back, I think it was, I sewed some chafe covers for the lines and tested out the new Sailrite sewing machine with those. Today what I'm going to try is making covers for the winches. So the winches here had some covers on there that didn't match, and I think we're missing a couple of them. So I have a total of 4 winches. I want to sew some covers for these and test out the new sewing machine, sewing something a little bit more complicated than the chafe protectors. I'm going to use Sailrite's YouTube video on how to make these winch covers, and I've already taken the measurements. The measurements that you need are the circumference and the height, and then from there you can figure out how big they need to be. I have some sunbrella fabric that I'm going to use to make those, and let's get started. So it's the moment of truth. Try out these new winch covers to see if they fit. So the winch covers, they go here and right here. And this is one that already was on here, but it the inside piece that's supposed to hold it on doesn't have any elastic, and it's kind of low, and it doesn't look like it really fits. It probably wasn't designed for this particular winch. So here is the new one that I got. We're going to try to put those on, or I should say, here's the new one that I made, and we're going to try to put these on to see if they fit. It looks like a perfect fit. Let's try the others. Small one. Another perfect fit. Other side. So these have a piece of elastic inside, or it's not elastic, it's actually shot cord. So on the inside there's like a little piece right here that has some shot cord inside there, so they're stretchy. So they fit onto the top of the winch. Just like that, which holds them on there tighter. Perfect fit. Last one. This one has one on it that's definitely not made for it, and of course it doesn't match any of the others. It's kind of cheap, ties on there. Perfect fit. So all of them fit on there surprisingly pretty good. A little tight getting some of them on, or a little tight getting the bottom parts on, I think. They may stretch a little bit, but I'd rather have it tight on there than loose. So it's like the perfect size. And that's the winch project. Technically the first sewing project for the boat finished, or the first sewing project with the new Sailrite sewing machine finished. So right now we're looking at fabrics to cover the cushions inside. So we're going to redo all these cushions, and we started out with this pile right over here that we got from Sailrite of some samples of different things, and we were looking through there to try to see which one of those we wanted to go with. But the problem with most of these samples that we picked up is they're actually not designed for inside of a boat. These are all designed for like inside a house or something like that. That's not going to be a damp environment. So we ordered a new set of samples, and the new set of samples, we had a couple of the I guess they call indoor fabrics or whatever, but we got a bunch more of the boat specific or marine specific fabrics. So that's what all these are. So we're kind of trying to decide between these here, these here, these here. Those are all the marine specific fabrics. This here is a fabric that we picked up at Joann's before we got all these fabrics, and we kind of picked this because this is kind of like the color range that we want to go with, and I'm going to take this and make a pillow or a couple of pillows out of that to practice with the sewing, and then we'll pick our fabric here that will match the pillow that we make. So what I've got to do today, we've got to figure out, we brought these to the boat to see what they look like in the actual light of the boat, and then the next thing that I want to do is measure all the cushions. So the cushions, if you can see how these are made, I guess this would be called like a regular box cushion. It has this piping on here that I'm going to have to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to do exactly like this. I think it might be easier to do a straight box cushion where you have one panel that goes along this side here, and you have piping on this side and that side of it. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this. I may have to take one of these apart just to see how it's done. The other tricky thing with this is these cushions have this chunk of wood back here, and it looks like, I don't know how that's sewed on there, or it may have, actually it has staples on it. So it has staples that go around there that cover that chunk of wood, and then this cushion is attached to that piece. So I'm going to have to take that apart to see exactly how that's done, and then that will be our cushion project for at least this winter. So next part I want to do here is measure all these, because I have to figure out how many yards of fabric to do. So there's these three, or I guess these 6 cushions here. The other side, and I took the Genoa down, so it's sitting in here. I still have to fold it up, but it's got the 6 cushions there. This one here is a little larger, and then plus the ones on the side, and then we've also got these in the back that eventually are going to be redone. I don't know if that's going to be this winter or what, but those are a lot bigger, so it's going to be a little harder to do those. There's 3. There's a big one, a little bit smaller one, and then a lot smaller one there. And then up in the V berth, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with these, but there's the 2 cushions here and then the smaller insert cushion. And what we were talking about doing is maybe actually, instead of recovering these, having a mattress made for this part here. Just to be more comfortable, even though this is actually very comfortable to sleep on, much more so than our last boat, but that's kind of what we've been trying to decide on. But that's the cushion project, and we'll have to pick out a fabric and measure the cushions. So the other thing that I'm looking at here that will have to be sewn into these is the zippers, and every cushion has a zipper in the back side of it, and the inside here, that's what the cushions. I'm not going to replace the cushions. They look to be in good shape, but the zippers will have to be sewn onto there. I'm not sure if I can take these off and reuse them or not, so I may have to order zippers. I may try to do one and see if we can recycle those. The other thing that is happening here, if you notice, I mentioned the piping on this is in the middle of the cushion versus a regular box cushion where it would be on each side. And I think that would be easier to sew, I think. I'm not 100% certain, but you can see the way that this is put together is a little different than a regular box cushion would be. So I have to see what's the best way to do that, or maybe the easiest way. There is one cushion here, this one here, that is sewn like a traditional box cushion, and this is a cushion that goes against the wall right over there, and it has the zipper like they all do. It has the piping around this side of it and no piping on the other side, but it's still a regular box cushion. The other thing that this has that the others don't, it has these little snaps, the little buttons, and then this 1-inch webbing that is sewn into there, so that will have to be redone. And then the same way with this cushion over on this side, it has the 3 snaps that attach here, and then instead of the webbing sewn in like this, it's just kind of a tabbed on there like that, and then that gets snapped on there. The other thing I need to think about what I want to do is what I want to do with these buttons here. Those are fabric covered buttons with the matching fabric. I think I can sew those in there. I don't think that's that hard to do. I think what happens is it goes, you take some thread and it goes through the cushion to the back side, and then you tighten it up. But I'm gonna have to see if that's something that I want to keep, or if there's some other thing that I can do with those. So that's kind of like going to be on the decision of what to do with this piece there, and as well as this. So the piping, so I'm not exactly sure if it's all going to stay exactly the same as it is, but something to think about. Okay, so I think we may have it narrowed down to a couple, or actually one pattern that we would use. This one here for the actual cushions, and this would be our pillow pattern, and then this would be kind of like another pattern that or another fabric that we could use for pillows or something like that, or even curtains, because we want to put curtains up here, because right now what we have are these things right here that snap over that windows, which those are kind of ugly. So we may want to try to replace those with some type of curtain-like thing that looks a little better than that. But this is what we're kind of looking at. It looks really good in the light, and it's dark enough. It has a good contrast, or a good color, or a good match with the wood. So that's kind of what we're looking at. It also has some light stuff in it, some light and stripes and reds and stuff like that. So easy to match, purples, those kind of things. And then it matches this fabric here that we would use for pillows, and then it also matches this fabric here that we could also use for pillows and or curtains, better so than those over there. Has a little, it's also a little bit thicker. Now, one of the things with the fabric, these were all Sailrite things that we ordered, and this one here is a sample of Bella Dura, which is what I've been doing here when we get them from Sailrite. They don't give you all the information on the back. They give you the number, the name of it, what it comes in, and that's about it. If you actually look in their catalog or on their website, it will tell you what it's made of. For example, this one here, this is, I believe, yeah, this is a Sunbrella fabric here called Canvas, or Sunbrella Canvas Glacier, and it's 100% acrylic. And the difference between the boat fabrics and a regular like home fabric, this is 100% acrylic, which apparently makes it resistant to mildew and those kind of things that you get with water, as opposed to, say, this fabric here. This one here, which is another one that I liked, but it's for indoor or RV use, and it's an 85 poly 15 cotton blend. And so it's not really designed to resist mildew or moist environments or wet environments. So that's why, that's the big difference between the two, is 100% acrylic is generally what you see for these marine fabrics. And then the other ones that are indoor fabrics are usually some sort of cotton poly blend. Another one, let's see, that I kind of liked was this one. And this is the same thing. This is for RV or auto use. It's 100% poly, and it doesn't have the mildew resistance that you would need for boat fabrics. So another thing here that you'll see on some of these that I've made a note of. This one we liked, but it's discontinued. This one here, again, an indoor fabric, but they have these, they rate fabrics based on something called double rubs, which I guess is a test that they do to see how durable they are. So this for example, is rated at 100,000 double rubs, which is pretty high. It's an indoor RV fabric from Krypton Home, and it's something that would be used in, like, say, commercial furniture, like in the waiting room at a hospital or something like that. So it's not something that we would want to use in a boat, just because it's made out of 100% poly versus an acrylic fabric. So, but anyway, so we get into these here. This one here that we're looking at, I don't have the double rubs written on here for some reason, and I didn't write what it's made of, and I forget why. But this Bella Dura is actually, I believe it's similar to the acrylic, but it might not be acrylic. It actually might be something similar to acrylic, but it's supposed to be more environmentally sustainable, meaning that it is either made of recycled material or easily recycled or something to that effect. I remember that with the Bella Dura. But that's the one that we're leaning toward, and maybe accessorizing that with this lighter Sunbrella canvas type fabric here. It's not really their heavy canvas, but it's a lightweight a lightweight cushion fabric is what this is. And then of course I think this is probably like a cotton poly blend, if I'm not mistaken, because it's just a regular fabric from Joann's. Actually, I'll take that back. It's not regular. It's actually a upholstery fabric from Joann's, but it's probably still a cotton poly fabric. Don't see it on there what it is, but that's my guess what it is. But so this is probably what we'll go with, this Bella Dura Hopper Cobalt, and it's a Sailrite exclusive.